The next call is a split call. Catherine Delahunty. A point of order. Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I have taken your advice, Mr Speaker. I have gone to the record and pulled down the Hansard for the day in question regarding the point of order I raised earlier. There is no mention of the comment from the Speaker saying, shut up Winston, in the Hansard at all, contrary to what you thought might be. I'm going to ask again for leave of the House to table the transcript from the 29th of July, question 1, where the Speaker of the House said, shut up Winston.
I've heard enough. I have sought advice, and I refer the member to McGee on page 54. And it says here, the preamble, but nor can the Speaker be attacked except by a direct motion and censure which notice has been given. Any statement in the House reflecting on the Speaker, either directly or indirectly, is out of order. I'm quoting from here, and this is the ruling I'm giving. A suggestion of partiality on the part of the Speaker or any other occupant of the chair may constitute a contempt of the House. Accusations against the Speaker that reflect on the Speaker in that capacity or in respect of the office held by the Speaker ex officio may constitute a contempt. Mr Mark, there are measures for you that you can follow. I'm not prepared to accept leave to table that document. I have sought advice, and that's the end of the matter. There are other avenues available to you. Well, if you're going to relitigate what I've already said, Mr Mark, as I said, this is a serious matter.
Point of clarification, I wasn't aware of that ruling.
Well, I've just quoted it. Order, members, order. I have just quoted it. I've given you the page number, and I suggest you seek advice on that. I've sought advice, and there are also some standing orders you might like, or Speaker's rulings you might like to look at. There's 165. 1 and 165.1 and 165.2. I've ruled on the matter. That's the end. We're moving on, and I'm calling Catherine Delahunty. 5 minutes.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. Me nui kia koutou katoa. First, I'd just like to acknowledge all the whānau and family that are here today and who have followed this bill. And I really do apologise as an MP that this opportunity has been wasted, that your call for justice, that their call for justice has not been heard, that we have failed the commitment made by all those people who travelled down to the coast to grieve with the families when they had a legitimate expectation that we would do something and do it right. I am not disputing that people in this House care about human life, but I am disputing that the government have watered down this legislation and failed to meet the expectations of the families who have lost people. Instead of a revolution in health and safety dedicated to the families of Pike River, dedicated to the people in the forests, dedicated to all the lives lost, what we have is a watering down of the opportunity. And so it is a sad day. We are very, very sorry, some of us, that the people have to bear witness to this. There's a fundamental problem, which is the government's belief system that this is about participation rather than power. In a small workplace or a large workplace, power determines, without good law, power will determine who is safe and who is not safe. And can anyone in this House with their hand on their heart tell me that Peter Whittle would have chosen a worker to represent workers who would have been able to shut down the mine? Would he have done that? Read the book and you'll find out what he would do. Can anyone tell me with a hand on a heart that in every hairdressing salon where toxic dyes are used, in every dental surgery where toxic substances are present, that every employer, and there are some great ones who we herald, that every employer is fit to do the job without proper, empowered worker representation, not participation. Participation means being there. Representation means standing for something and having a voice. And that's what this bill has failed to do. We had high hopes of supporting it. We're really, really sorry at this stage that we can't and that it's failing the needs of people. That is very, very disappointing. I did spend time on the SET committee and I was shocked, because I thought I was beyond being shocked when I realised how much this was being watered down. I really did believe that we were going to learn the lesson of history and make a difference, because ever since the Employment Contracts Act, we have had a neoliberal undermining of the power of working people, and we have seen the cost of that. And the people that pay the price have a right to expect us to do better. Not to create some kind of mythical balance, but to do better, to set up structures that the independent task force, as well as the Royal Commission, asked us to do. There is no shortage of advice, there is no shortage of history in these issues. There is very clear recommendations from both those bodies about what this legislation needed to do. But they're not doing it because they have lost their guts in the face of lobbying by people who are protecting their vested interests rather than the needs of everybody in the workplace. And it's not going to work to improve safety in the workplace. It's very, very disappointing. We do need to test it against the current situations. For example, the young man, Mr. Sharanpreet Dhaliwal, who was killed 3 days ago with no training on anything, let alone health and safety in the workplace. He was working for a small business and he had no panic button and he had no power. And what's he going to do if there is nobody in the workplace, someone whose life was lost? What are we going to do with the next person in that situation? Actually, this Parliament could do better. I believe a lot of people out there are waiting for us to do better, but please don't tell the people this can't happen again, and that through this thousands of jargon-filled words in this bill, we actually have done the job that the families asked us to do. We have not done the job. We have sold them out. We have ignored history and we have failed to recognise that small or large businesses, the way in which we get safety is through proper inspectorate and through worker representation. That is the only way we can guarantee that such tragedies as we have seen in this country in recent years and ever since the delightful Rogernomics revolution that failed this country, that stuff will stop happening and will stop happening better. So at the risk of repeating myself, it's not participation that's the problem. It's not individual responsibility. It's structural power, and we have failed to address it. Kia ora tātou katoa.
I call David Seymour, 5 minutes.
Mr.